Now, the next focus should be on how to delete an item from the database using FastAPI. Right now, the only table with items that you have is a table of users in our database. So currently, I have few items there that include these three stuff. Let me refresh. Yeah, so this is the current form that I have now, right? I have Francis, Francisca, and Ben all from the same family. So this one, yeah, we created all these items from the previous session. So right now we are going to focus on how to delete an item from this database, right? An item is right now the items that we have are users. So we are going to see how to delete a user account so that it doesn't exist in the database. Okay, so after that, as usual, right? What we need to do is that we need to define delete user. So delete user endpoint is fine. We are going to keep that. The function is also delete user. It's also okay. I don't think we have an issue with that. Um, so now let's start. We need to take an argument. The argument that we're taking is that we are going to delete user by ID, right? We are going to need the user's ID. So the first entering point or argument that we need to take should be ID, and the data type of the ID should be UUID as we did it before, right? And then also we'll be taking database, right? Which is going to be a session. This is how we'll be using a session, and then that session is going to be depending on get database. So this is what we need now. Okay, so this be user, we are going to use that ID to see if that particular user exists first. So we are going to query the database, and then query the database. We are going to say it's going to be the model, the user model dot filter, and then when we filter, we need to find where the user dot id is equal to the id that we are bringing into the system dot first. Again, this id is the one that is coming from the front end, and we are comparing or matching that against the user id from the database. So we are filtering each of them. Anytime we find a match, then we do dot first in order to cut it there so that we don't continue. If db underscore user is none, meaning that after doing the search and nothing exists, we are going to return a message, right? So no, we don't return a message anymore. We raise an exception. We raise an HTTP exception, right? And we said status code is equal to status dot. So it's going to be not found 404, user not found, and then the detail will be the detail will be equal to a message user, the id does not match an existing user, basically. But then if it works, what happens if the data the user doesn't exist, or the user exists actually? Then what should we do? Let me lower this so that we focus on this. So if the user exists, what should we do? We are going to call the database dot delete. There is a function called delete. From this one is from the database one, right? We are going to delete the db underscore user that we found, right? After you delete, after you've done an action, right, you need to do dot commit. Why commit? In order to read like saving the change that you did done. But here we are not doing anything. We are just basically going to return this. We are just returning a message. So message user deleted successfully, basically, right? Unless you want to return maybe let's return the user data that we have deleted. So db underscore user, let's return the one that we are deleting, basically. Okay, so this is what we have. Simple one. So is first we try to, if we take the id that is coming, we use it to match an existing user in the database. This one, if the user exists, right? If the user does not exist, or if it is finally none, we are going to raise an exception, right, or an error. saying that the ID does not match an existing user. But if it doesn't, that this thing will not be raised, this particular block of code of if statement will not run, then the code will continue and go and delete the user that we found this user that we found right from the query. We are going to delete it from the database, and we are going to do db.commit in order to um save the changes in the database, commit the changes in the database. Simply, when we are done, then we retrieve retrieve the database, the user that we deleted. Simple as that. So okay, now what should we do? What should we do? Let's go to let's go and try it. I have my this thing, the UVCon running already. So make sure you are also running on your own. If you are now starting, you refresh and do everything. Now this is it. Let me refresh this page. I have delete user, right? And I'm expanding that. We need an ID. So I'll try it out. So I'm trying it out. So we need an ID to put here. But to do that, I'm going to create a new user first, right? A test user. So I'm going to say for the first name, I'm going to say test, and for the last name, I'm going to say user, just to say test user, right? And then the email will be test at gmail.com. The password, what's the password? 12345 6. And then the phone number, yeah, this is okay. So we are creating a new user first. Let me execute this. Let me see what we have. So we have a new user created over here, and this is the response that we have. So the first name is a test. This is the ID. This is the Gmail. Let me go to my database. I was not having it first. I'm going to refresh. When I refresh, I can see test is here and its ID is over here, right? But then what is test user? It doesn't make sense, right? We need to delete something like this. If you want to delete a particular user account or an item, I'm going to take the ID. Since our endpoint for deleting, we have made it to receive to be receiving IDs, right? So we go down to the one we expanded first. So this is what we are trying it out. We paste the ID here. Remember, when you paste the ID the way I did, right? You go here, you click on it, then you click on this copy. If you click on this copy, it is going to come out with quotation marks, open and closing quotation mark around the ID. So you need to delete those quotation marks before you try it out. If you don't want that, right? Let me clean this. Let's assume there is no ID inside. If you go inside, then you click on this and press Ctrl C on your keyboard. Then you go back and you paste it. It still counts with the double quotation mark. So always focus on removing these quotation marks first before you test your um IDs. So now I'm coming to execute this. Let's see what comes out. Yeah, so the result came out, right? The result came out. His password. The reason why I'm bringing it out this time is because we are even not needing it. The thing is deleted from the database. So you not see this guy in the database again, right? Let me go to the database, refresh it. Refresh, it's no more here. So if it is no more there, and I try to delete a user with the same ID again, right now it's not in the system. This is what we had first. I'm going to execute it again. So they say the ID does not match an existing user, right? Because it is no more in the database, so we can't find. We have deleted it permanently from the database. So I'm going to execute it again. Still, the ID does not match an existing user, the database, basically. So this is how you can simply delete a line of item in the database, right? So by using the delete function and making sure that you communicate well with your database. If you understand everything so far, you see that this is a key thing. So you use it to first find the item, and you make sure that you raise an exception just in case the user doesn't exist, right? Then you delete. Then after you do the delete, you make an action. You need to commit, making the changes before you return whatever you want to return, right? So then that one it become more clear, more efficient, and it work for everyone. Yeah, so that's how to delete an item in the database. So far we have covered all the four major methods, right, of FastAPI. That's post to post. It's a post method to create new stuff. Get, another method to retrieve items from the backend, and then also put is to make the thing exists already. You just want to make how do you call it, an update. So if you want to make an update, you use the put method to do that. Then after that, the last one is delete. They are not limited to that. There are other one like patch and others, but then these are the major four major one that you need to be using mostly. So there's delete one also that we just learn. So if you understand the concept, every other thing that we'll be building or any other layer that we'll be adding on it will all be built on this, right? So now this is what we have done for all the applications to make you understand how the methods work, right? We are going to continue with other ways or better ways of writing this particular endpoint very well. See you in the next session.